Good morning. We're going to begin a new series over the next number of weeks. Don't know how long, but it'll be several weeks. We're going to spend some time thinking about the solas, the five solas of the Reformation. Solus Christus, sola fide, sola gratia, sole Deo gloria, and sola scriptura. The five solas are the five onlys of the Reformation. As the Reformers looked at the Roman Catholic Church at the time of the early 16th century, they became distressed at how the language of Latin had caused the Bible to be privatized just to the interpretation of the priests, how the power structure of the Roman Catholic system was keeping people at bay and keeping them away from interacting with the scriptures themselves. How in the last few hundred years, not going all the way back to the early church, but from about the early 13th century on to the early 16th century at the time of the Reformation, how the church had become polluted politically but then theologically. And things had glommed on to Christ and on to their understanding of the doctrine of salvation known as soteriology. And as a result, it became very difficult to find the truth at the core of the church. And so the Reformers weren't looking to start a new church. They were looking to reform the existing church. Now, those Reformers, there's famous names: Martin Luther, John Calvin, Ulrich Zwingli, Theodore Beza, Philip Melanchthon, William Tyndale, many, many others. Those names are popular and those names are famous. But what drove them was really a commitment to good doctrine and getting back to five onlys, five solas. So I want to mention the first one to you in brief, which is, as we're going to cover them, Solus Christus, Christ alone. Now, importantly, the doctrine or the idea of Christ alone was not to correct the identity of Jesus as he was identified by the Roman Catholic Church. It wasn't that they had misidentified him. In that way, they weren't some heretical sect that had misidentified him at all. Let me state three things that are important to remember, important points to remember about coming to Solus Christus and the Reformers. First, the Reformation doctrine of Solus Christus was not a correction of the Roman Catholic understanding of the identity of Jesus. The Reformation doctrine of Solus Christus was a correction of the Roman Catholic Church's understanding of the sufficiency of Jesus, however. And the Reformation doctrine of Solus Christus was not Christ alone without the church, but rather Christ alone unmediated by the church, its sacraments, and its saints. So it's not to say that, hey, we just focus on Jesus and we don't the church. It's to say that we have Jesus, and because we have Jesus, we have his church. And the church finds its connection to Jesus because we are all together in Christ. But it is Christ alone who affords those blessings to us. It's not the church that affords those blessings to us. I think of what Luther said. He called Christ the center and circumference of the Bible. Or maybe, as the London Baptist Confession said, and I quote, "The office of mediator between God and man is proper only to Christ, who is the prophet, priest, and king of the church of God, and may not be either in whole or any part thereof transferred from him to any other." That is, you don't need a priest because Christ is your priest. In one sense, you need a priest, but you have a priest. It's Jesus. He is your priest. Put another way, Acts 4:12. "And there is salvation in no one else, for there is no other name under heaven given among men by which we must be saved." We're going to explore the doctrine of Christ a little bit more and think about the Orthodox Christ. And I don't mean that with a capital O as in the Orthodox Eastern Church, but the Orthodox Christ who we worship. And we'll look at that picture of Jesus from Hebrews 1 in some ensuing days. May the Lord bless you.